need good observation skills to learn about animal behavior and to ensure their health. Let me know what you see and please share with the other guests. And we have now traveled over 7,000 miles and arrived in Asia. Be on the lookout for animals. Now, Asia is the continent known for its vast deer population and its deer diversity. If you look back, folks, that one honey-colored deer laying or standing there by itself is a honey Barasinger deer. And if you're able to see that chocolate coat and white-bellied animal, that was a black buck antelope. Now, if you look up to the upper right, you're going to see some more of our Barasinger deer. Look, the one like that was standing by the fence. Now, they get their name for the look of the male deer antlers. Barasinger means 12 tined in Hindi, and that just means that the males have 12 to 14 points on those antlers. Now, the black buck antelope are classified as sexually dimorphic, only meaning that the males and the females look different from one another, even though they are the same species. Now, the females will have that tan coat white belly with no horns, with the males will have that chocolate coat like the one we saw back there, white belly with those horns. Now, look down to the bottom right, folks. You're now seeing another big male Barasinger deer.
Right here.
Now, you'll soon be seeing our new addition here at the Bronx Zoo, the Bactrian deer, all the way from Central Asia. You're going to see them in a few seconds once we pass these small bellies on the right. And he's up there massaging his antlers. Now again, they are brand new. They're a subspecies of the red deer, even though they do not have that red coat. They have that off-white color to almost brown coat. Again, they're brand new. We just received them last year. Now, a fact about these particular deer. One of our researchers from the WCS located some of them in Afghanistan after not being seen for nearly 40 years. And we have them right here at the Bronx Zoo. The beautiful Bactrian deer, beautiful species. There's two big males and the other females. And two big more male Barasinger deer up on the hill. Now, we all know that a species that's extinct no longer exists. Now, the next animal was on the verge of extinction. In fact, the Mongolian wild horse, or the Przewalski's horse, was extinct in nature. And they can only be found in zoos. But recently, there have been some reintroductions of the Mongolian wild horses in areas of Mongolia and China from our North America and Asian zoos. And as the train's about to round this corner and coming into the lower part of our meadow, we're now on the lookout for the beautiful Mongolian wild horses. Now, folks, recently we have two baby foals born here at about the last month. So there's one laying down to the bottom right, and I love doing that. Now, the younger one is to the right. And right now he's being nursed by the mother. Look up to the right. Now we got two new baby foals here at the Bronx Zoo. Now, as you're looking at them, folks, I'm pretty sure you notice the difference between these horses and our domestic ones. One, they have shorter legs and a stockier build. They also have an erect mane. They're missing the forelock. That's a piece of mane that drapes over the forehead of our domestic horses. Now, the Bronx Zoo received its first animals in 1902, and to date, we've had over 50 Mongolian wild horse foals born right here at the Bronx Zoo. Now, in the meantime, here's one of our animal experts. His name is Jonathan Slack to speak about these wonderful animals.
Hi, farmers in
I'm Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth, and my job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s. And on a recent trip to Kazakhstan, I thought about the ongoing and successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories, to watch the impossible become possible, and to see hope restored. And that's what's happening today with Przewalski's horse.
All right, folks, this upper meadow that we're in right here is just an extended area where we do allow our horses to play, frolic, and run around. So here at the Bronx Zoo, we do offer them plenty of room and allow them to do just what they want to do. Again, our Mongolian wild horses, and again, all this upper area is theirs, and yes, folks, they use every bit of it. From the lower to the upper, from the back to the front, this is all theirs for the Mongolian wild horses. And as we slowly proceed up this hill, we're now to look out for one vulnerable and endangered species, and believe me when I tell you, folks, they are very large. We're talking about the Gower, the world's largest wild camel. The Gower. Now, males can weigh over 2,000 pounds, as much as a small car. They stand 6 feet tall and are 10 feet long. And with their large size and impressive horns, a male Gower can fight off just about anything, and that includes a tiger. But what threatens these huge animals is the loss of their Asian habitats and diseases that they do catch from other domestic cattle. Now at this time of the day, folks, they normally go to the far right side of the meadow, so look to the far right side of the fence line. And even from this distance, you can see how big these animals are. Now, recently, we've added 2 females and a male from San Diego. They arrived by special truck as we're trying to increase our herd, and we have been successful. We now have new calves. Now, only 4 zoos in America carry this species, and of course the Bronx Zoo is one of them. Now, if you can, from this distance, try to get a good look at those horns. Now, if those horns are curving in, those are our females. If they're slightly pointing up, those are our males. Again, males are Gower, the world's largest wild cattle. And believe me when I tell you, folks, not too many other animals bother them. They're as powerful as big. The Gower, the world's largest wild cattle. And the head of this particular herd is a female known as the matriarch. And of course, they're going to be very protective of those calves. The Gower. And as we're about to test our scientific and observation skills, you might be hearing a noise coming from the concrete jungle rather than the Asia one. You know, it's easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment. And the noise that we're hearing behind us now is the traffic from the Bronx River Parkway. And this very large fence that we're approaching right here is used to reduce the noise of that city traffic, because we do want to keep our animals calm. I'm going to ask everyone to please remain seated as we're about to round this corner, because we are now on the lookout for a tiger. Now, tiger stripes provide excellent camouflage, so they're very often difficult to spot. They're so secretive that even our professional researchers have a hard time finding them. Now, adult tigers normally live alone in the wild, which is why you're only going to see one of them at the exhibit at a time. And once we round this corner, folks, we'll soon be able to look out for Panari. Now, Panari is our male Malayan tiger. Now, the 2 types of species that we do show here at the Bronx Zoo, the Malayan and the Siberian, also known as the Amur. The Siberian are the larger of the 2. Now, folks, I believe I just spotted him as he come down. Look across the pool to the upper right. I believe he's laying in the grass over there, and yes, he is. There he is, laying in the sun. Now, he's not as big as a Siberian, but just as beautiful. And that's Panari. There he is. And they have a deeper orange color.
Do you see him?
But he's still pretty big.
Right here, baby.
Now, tigers hunt a variety of animals, but they prefer wild pigs and medium-sized deer. Now, typically a tiger will gorge himself for the fresh kill, eating as much as 40 pounds of meat at one time. And just think, that's the equivalent of you and I eating 160 hamburgers in one sitting. And that's the meal of that size. A tiger will not eat again for about several days. And if you do want to get a closer look at our tigers, you can visit our Tiger Mountain right here at the Bronx Zoo. Again, folks, that is Panari, our male Malayan tiger. And as you can see, he's a beauty, even resting. Now, soon the train will be coming down a small hill, and we'll soon be in the back of the Gower exhibit. Now, the reason I mention this, folks, later on during the day, those large wild cattle that we saw just a few minutes ago, they're going to come right down this hill. Look up at another peak. They're going to come right down on this hill, very close to the train. And that's a sight to behold. You can really appreciate their great size. I'm afraid you got to stay seated. This is the back of the Gower exhibit up there on the hill. And as we come down this small hill, folks, we're now on the back of that very first meadow. We're seeing those factory deer and the Barrasinger deer. And I look at the meadow, look tan and white-bellied animals. All the female black buck antelopes. We just see one of the males. And they go running. And those spotted deer are the axis deer. We've been showing them here for the last 123 years. And unlike other deer, they will keep their spots for their entire lifetime, while other deer lose their spots. And these birds that you're looking at are the peafowl, which are the national birds of India. Now, males are called peacocks, while females are called peahens, and little babies, of course, are called peachicks. Look down to the bottom right, another big male Barrasinger deer.
It looks like a tiger.
Now, the next animal blends in with the muddy area it calls home. If you see what looks like a pig with upper tusks that run through the top of its snout and curve backwards towards its eyes, you found a pig called the Barbaroussa. And the fact that the tusks resemble antlers earned this pig its name. Barbaroussa means pig deer in the Malay language. Now, males will use those tusks to fight with other males to display dominance in order to attract other females. Now, they're gray in color, so they blend in very well with the exhibit, as we're passing by a bamboo thicket coming up on the right. And the first Barbaroussa we're going to see is Linus. And there he is laying down. There he is, with his back towards us. That's Linus, the pig deer. Now, the second pair we have Sprout. Let's see if we can locate Sprout. Sprout might be a little bit more mobile. And he's right below us. See if you can go away from that fence, but he's right below, down to the bottom right. And you gotta stay seated back there, guys. Now, folks, if you had a hard time seeing those animals, believe me, you'll not have a hard time seeing our next one. So again, please remain seated, because we're about to see the world's largest land mammals. And of course, we're talking about our Asian elephants, Happy and Patty. And Patty's further to the right. This is Happy here. Now, that large tree that you see by the tip of their pool, that's an elephant-sized back scratcher. Now, African and Asian elephants are iconic animals worldwide, but they're struggling in the wild. Now, the first thing that you notice about these lovely ladies is their size. Asian elephants can weigh more than 10,000 pounds.
They're separated.
So they eat a lot of vegetation, folks.
That's a zip line.
They eat about 200 pounds of hay a day. They drink about 60 gallons of water. That is per day. Now take a good look at those trunks, folks, because only Asian elephants have this adaptation. They have finger-like features on the end of their trunks where they can gently pick up a blade of grass. All with those same trunks, they can tear down all these tree branches out here with enormous force. Those trunks hold more than 40,000 muscles. They're incredible tools. Now our elephants are over 50 years old, folks. They're over 50.
They can tear down the whole tree.
Now here at the Bronx Zoo, we do take very good care of our elephants. They not only get baths, but they get pedicures as well, and they deserve it. That is Happy and Patty, our Asian elephants. And as we leave our elephant zone, we're now to look out for another large mammal. This one tends to weigh around 3,500 pounds, has a horn in its nose, and looks to be armor-plated. But nothing can be further from the truth when you're talking about a rhinoceros skin. And folks, today we have out Priya and her son Patrick, our greater one-horned rhinos, also known as the Indian rhinoceros. Now they are on the other side, so we're going to scoot around, and as we do, I'm going to give you some facts. Now all rhinos are highly endangered, with about 3,700 surviving in India and Nepal. Now here at the Bronx Zoo, we've had great success caring for these very rare animals, but breeding is a huge challenge. Now this part is for the moms on the train. Moms, listen to this. A female rhino stays pregnant for 16 months. Then after being pregnant for almost a year and a half, they give birth to a calf weighing between 55 to 100 pounds. Now the calf will stay with its mother for about 2 to 3 years, even though weaning would only take about 12 to 16 months. Now again, most people think that rhinos are armor-plated, and again, nothing could be further from the truth. They just have a layer of skin that has many folds, which you're about to see. So when you do see a rhinoceros laying in the mud, folks, also what you're about to see, they're not there because they like it. They're there to protect that very sensitive skin from sunlight and from insects. As a matter of fact, one of our other rhinos, her name is Penny. Before the zookeepers bring her out, they have to put sunblock on her face and ears to make sure that she does not sunburn. And as we come around, look down to the right, you're now looking at Callie and her 1-year-old son, Patrick, right behind her. Now we've had 14 baby rhinos born right here at the Bronx Zoo, and we're currently caring for 5 endangered species as I speak. Now this much larger mudwaller that was slowly passing by is the original mudwaller of Wild Asia. Made back in 1977 and made larger by our rhinos all by themselves just by continually stomping around it. And they've been doing it for the last 45 years. And here's some more about our rhinos. Again, that is Priya and Patrick.
WCM, the rhinos you see here are Indian rhinos. We work with habitats all over the world that are homes to rhinos. Here's a note from our field office in Sumatra, and Ulam, who works with the Sumatran rhino. Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the world's rhinos, and they are considered critically endangered.
My name is Wulan Kuspariki, and I'm the Species Conservation Specialist for WCS Indonesia program. We carried out an island-wide survey of the last wild population of Sumatran rhinoceros in Indonesia. With so many unknowns on how to manage Sumatran rhinos in the wild or captivity, our studies showed definitively that we must protect them at source. The cost of doing nothing could be the extinction of the species, and I can't imagine that.
All right, folks, as we leave Priya and Patrick behind, we come into our next 2 large meadows. We're now going to look out for a few deer species and antelope species. Now, if you look between the trees up on that rocky ledge, and you happen to see some little brown deer up there, they are known as the hog deer. Now, they get their name because they're short and heavy like a hog. They creep, they duck, they run under things, rather than jump over things like other deer, hence the name hog deer. We'll probably see some more as we come around, but have you look back to the left. Again, those are the hog deer on that rocky ledge. As we come around, look back to the left, you probably see some more lying by that circular fence as we come around, and there they go. Now that little reddish-brown deer right in front of them, by itself, that's an Indian muntjac deer, also known as the barking deer, because they will make a bark-like sound once they sense a predator. Now these particular deer mark their territories by scent glands, which are found right near their eyes. We're also going to be on the lookout for the Sambar Deer, one of the largest deers in southern Asia. They stand about 5 feet tall at the shoulder, weighing as much as 650 pounds, and with antlers that grow at least 3 feet long. We're also going to be on the lookout for the Guy Antelope. Now they get their name from the color of the male's coat. Guy means blue bull in Hindi, and that's because the males have a bluish-gray tint to their coats, while the females have a yellowish-brown of theirs. Males have horns, where the females do not, and they've been clocked at over 30 miles per hour while running. They are very fast, and they are also the largest antelope species in Asia. Now folks, as we come down this small hill, look down to the bottom right, You'll see a little mud patch with a tree laying across it. Follow it straight back up. You'll see our animals, a lot of our animals way back up there in the corner. They will start coming down eventually. Most of our sambar are back there and a few of our Guy Antelope. Now if you look to the extreme right, you'll see some of our female Guy Antelope. You're standing up and some are laying down right by the fence to the upper right. Again, clocked at over 30 miles per hour. I've seen them run and it's a beautiful sight. The largest antelope species in Asia. And again, these are all females. The blue bull is not out. Now in this area, folks, want to look out for the cute little China's tufted deer. Very elusive little deer. They like to hide. 40 pounds max of weight. So if we do get to see one or two, folks, they are not babies. And just like our white-tailed deer here in New York, they have a white tail on the rump. And when they flash that tail, it's the signal danger to the other deer. Now there's one way back there in the corner. We're passing by, laying right from that large rock in the leaves. See if we can locate another one. Now again, just like our white-tailed deer here in New York, they have a white tail on the rump, and when they flash that tail, it's the signal danger to the other deer. And it also allows the small fawns to follow their mothers in flight, again, once they sense danger. Now these deer are very rarely found in zoos outside of China. So we're very fortunate to have them right here at the Bronx Zoo. I only spotted one, folks, and he was a little hard to see, but that's okay because we do have more animals to see. And we're now about to cross back over the Bronx River, the highest point in our tour, 35 feet over the water. Now, thousands of commuters cross this waterway every day, but underneath the highways and the elevated tracks, the river still rushes along, providing a habitat for turtles, ducks, fish, and migrating birds. There's a little turtle right there.
Bronx River.
Now, the WCS knows how important it is to protect the Bronx River corridor and its greenway. So whether it's the Bronx River here in New York or the Irrawaddy River in Asia, rivers and streams are vital resources for wildlife everywhere. Now, this next rocky terrain is the perfect environment for our next two species of animals, and both are well adapted to climbing rocks, mountain slopes, and folks, even trees. Look straight ahead. There's a macaw on that tree stump and an older one below it. They're excellent leapers and climbers. Now quickly, folks, up to the top, right? On this large rock.
On the tree.
These are male macaws with these long corkscrew horns, which on the males can grow as long as 5 feet, folks. 10 inches on the females. And the males also sport those cool beards under their chin. Now these animals are able to jump 6 feet straight in the air, folks, and that's without a running start. 6 feet straight up. And our markers been known to climb these trees just to reach the fresh leaves. Now again, we also have the Himalayan tahr. They have a dark and shaggy coat, and their horns go directly back over their heads. They also have special reinforced their hooves that allow them to climb rocks very easily, just like the sole of a climbing boot. So if you did want to study these animals, get ready to do some real serious rock climbing. Our macaw and our Himalayan tahr. Now if you look up to the upper right, there's a young macaw laying on that rock right before us, to the upper right. Now folks, soon the train is about to slow up, as this is where we would normally show Linus, our red panda. But because of the extreme heat, our zookeeper decided to keep him in, so he will not be out today, folks. But don't be upset. If you take a short walk to the Himalayan Highlands, you might be able to see some of our red pandas along with our snow leopards, Asia's other big cats.
I never get to be this close.
So again, a short walk to the Himalayan Highlands, you'll be able to see our red pandas, hopefully, and our snow leopards. And as we round this bend, our journey is almost at an end. And if you look out in the meadow, I see one of our Himalayan tahr just stood up, walking away from us slowly. And again, as we round this bend, our journey is almost at an end. And you've heard from some of our animal experts, and you tried out some of your own science skills while on this ride. So we hope that you've been inspired by what you've heard and seen today. And remember, in addition to many fine parks here in New York City, the Bronx Zoo, the New York Aquarium, the Central Park Zoo, the Queens Zoo, and the Prospect Park Zoo, the WCS has scientists in the field at more than 300 sites and in over 60 countries. Now, conflicts between humans and wildlife are becoming a more common concern all over the world. But the Wildlife Conservation Society scientists both in the field and here at the Bronx Zoo are working to find solutions to ensure the survival of wildlife worldwide, and you can help our efforts. As a matter of fact, folks, just by visiting us today, you are helping us help wildlife. And you can discover other ways to get involved as well. You can visit us online, join an education program, or just become a WCS member. Now again, I'm going to ask everyone to please remain seated as we're about to make a brief stop. And that's because we do have a train directly in front of us on the platform. Right now, that train is in the process of loading guests. Now once they complete that loading and get through all set to pull out, and once we get our signal, we will be pulling in, where I'm going to let you go to enjoy the rest of your day here at the wonderful Bronx Zoo, so please remain seated. Now folks, if you do want to be kept up on current events here at the Bronx Zoo, please go to our website. There's no downloading needed. That's bronxzoo.com/today. Again, bronxzoo.com/today. And don't forget to visit our dinosaur safari, nature trek, bug carousel, and treetop adventure, all fun events here at the Bronx Zoo. And we're now at that brief stop, so please remain seated, folks. Almost there. And again, that website is bronxzoo.com/today.